Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by the generosity of the following companies. The Old Mill Press, publishing beautifully crafted books that illuminate our world. To learn more, visit theoldmillpress.com. And by listeners like you.
Hi, this is animator Darlie Brewster, and you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Aye, mateys, remember this as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock Podcast. Proceed at your own risk, and mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tale.
Welcome to Skull Rock Podcast, the show about all things Disney and pop culture. Every week we take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite Disney films, theme park attractions, performances, books, music, as well as what's streaming, what's in theaters, and what's going on in this universe of entertainment. I'm Aljon Go, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist. And you can email me, Aljon, at skullrockpodcast.com.
And I'm Dave Bossard, artist, filmmaker, author, and welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. If you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can also email me at dave@skullrockpodcast.com. Aljon, I can't even believe January's in the rearview mirror, but I'm glad it is because it was an apocalyptic January out here in Los Angeles. I'm glad it's over. The fires are now 100% contained. The fires burned for 24 days out here.
Oh, unbelievable.
24 days. It's craziness. So, but you know what? We've got a fantastic show today. We've got Tom and Tony Bancroft.
Whoa.
It's a one-off show. We got them together the first time that we're interviewing them both together because, we've had them on the show individually talking about their careers. But now we're going to talk today about the Animation Y'all Expo and all the incredible guests, and they're making some announcements on our show. So I'm excited about that, and we have a little fun with them at the beginning of the interview as well.
That's great. Those two guys are just amazing talents and just super fun. And I can't wait. I mean, we usually talk about the expo at the end, but once again, it's worth repeating. It's worth saying right now, February 21st through the 23rd, Animation Y'all Expo happening here in Nashville. And I say here in Nashville because that's where I'm at. Dave's in LA. I'm in Nashville for those of you uninitiated. And this is going to be an amazing event, focusing a lot on just the animation. And as you say, Dave, Nashville's becoming the second mecca of animation in the world. And I'm just so happy and proud of that fact. So.
Well, it's the Nashville Animation Mafia.
That's what
I'm calling it.
Well,
we have it what it is.
Well, we have the music mafia in town. Now we have the animation mafia in town, and that's really great. Go. So that is amazing stuff. So I'm looking forward to hearing from the Bancrofts about all things animation, y'all. But I hope your week was good, though.
Yeah, no, it was a great week. And something, I saw a lot of notes on social media. People really enjoyed the Darlie Brewster interviews,
Good.
The 3-part interview that we did with her. Saw a lot of things on Facebook and other social media platforms that our listeners enjoyed those 3 interviews. And also, I got to say, we're getting notes from people all over the world. I was corresponding with an author down in Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
He's going to be a guest on the show. We're going to be interviewing him and talking about his book. I'm not going to tip my hand on that just yet because I want that to be a little bit of a surprise. Right. But although we may have mentioned it last week, I don't know. My short-term memory is going. But it's so great to hear from our listeners, and I just want to reiterate. Send us a note. Tell us, what you thought of an episode you listened to. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And on that note, Dave, since, I was going to say we did get some I guess, comments on YouTube, but they're just really small comments. And I just would say, please, I know that you're probably checking this out on podcast form, but we are on YouTube as well. There's so many ways for you to listen, and you have choices in listening. But if you could just subscribe to our YouTube feed, and feel free to just write us a note on YouTube and let us know how we're doing. We would appreciate it. I think people are discovering the show for the very first time this year, and it's great to see the uptick in our YouTube. So
yeah,
really cool.
and you know something, I'd be curious to hear how many people would like to see video on our show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be something we can certainly put up there. And I know that maybe it's something we could do maybe for our Patreon people, because, you know, people are slowly signing up for Patreon, and that's really cool.
That might be interesting, is to put the video of the show onto our Patreon page.
Yeah.
So if people actually want to see the show, we can do that. And you know what? We'll reach out to some of our past guests and make sure they're okay with us doing that.
Yeah, if you're cool with it, that'd be great. I think that'd be great content, and I don't know how much editing we'll do, but I'm sure you'll just give it to me and we can run it through the filter.
Yeah. No, I think the only thing we need to do on it is probably just edit, before we start the interview, the little bit of banter we do and some of the things we do with our guests with, recording bumpers for the podcast and things like that.
Oh, that's the coolest thing about, I'll say this about one of our affiliates, Riverside.fm, is that I can just put all that stuff in there, and AI. You talk about AI tools. Using AI is great because I can screen for certain words and certain things and just edit those clips pretty well on Riverside. So it's a really cool tool. If you're out there creating content, that'd be amazing. So anyway, we have a chock full show. As I said, Dave said the Bancroft brothers are in tow, and we'll get to them shortly. And now let's get into our picks of the week. Dave, what have you been watching this week?
Well, Aljon, I went and saw Flight Risk, which is a new movie that's out in the theaters. A U.S. Marshal boards a small plane to transfer a government witness to New York. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions start to rise as not everyone on the flight is who they appear to be. I wasn't sure about this movie, but I went and saw it in the theaters, and I really enjoyed it. It's directed by Mel Gibson. It's released by Lionsgate Films. It's got Mark Wahlberg as the lead, and Topher Grace is in this as well. So it is a well-cast movie. Michelle Dockery plays the U.S. Marshal. Topher Grace is the witness she's trying to transfer. And Mark Wahlberg is a pilot, but he's really a hitman who took out the real pilot to pilot this plane so that he can silence this witness. Wow. And it's really well done. I was actually kind of surprised that Rotten Tomatoes only gives it 26% and IMDb gives it 5.5%. A lot of this takes place in the plane, in the small plane. In the cockpit and cabin. Much of the movie is in that confined space, and I thought Mel Gibson did a fabulous job in putting this movie together, and it was worth seeing on a big screen because there's some beautiful cinematography of the Alaskan wilderness. So, for me, if you don't see it in the theaters, at least catch it when it comes on to one of the streaming services, because I actually enjoyed the film. And I thought, well, Mark Wahlberg, he doesn't often play a villain. And he is a real villain in this picture. It kind of reminded me almost a little bit, Key Largo, the Humphrey Bogart film.
Yes.
It all takes place in the lobby of the hotel in Key Largo.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a confined it was one confined set, and they were able to carry it for the whole movie.
That's
so
awesome.
I enjoyed it.
Nice. I like that.
All right. On the small screen, I checked out a show on Netflix called Kaleidoscope. And the leads in this, listen to this, Giancarlo Esposito, who is fantastic in anything he's in.
True.
You know, he's another guy I would watch mowing his lawn.
He's good.
And Rufus Sewell. Now, Rufus Sewell, he plays the husband of Kerry Russell in The Diplomat, which we've talked about on the show. He's a great actor. This is an ensemble cast. A master thief and his crew attempt an epic heist worth $7 billion, but betrayal, greed, and other threats undermine their plans. This is a limited series. I want to say there was, not sure how many episodes there were. I think there was 8 or 9 episodes of Kaleidoscope, and I thought it was extremely well done. It's a gripping heist thriller, and I would highly recommend it. It's Kaleidoscope on Netflix. A new show that dropped, you may have seen it advertised. It's on Max, HBO Max. But you can also find it on Prime and Hulu. It's called The Pit. A realistic examination of the challenges facing healthcare workers in America as seen through the lens of the frontline heroes working in a modern-day hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The star of the show is Noah Weil as Dr. Michael Robbie.
He's not typecast, is he?
I don't know, but you know something? It's a great ensemble cast, and I've really enjoyed it. The show has a real heart to it. It's funny, it's poignant, it's sad, but it gives a realistic look at emergency rooms. And I have some experience with that, with having taken Nancy to an emergency room about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So it's a good show, and I would recommend it. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 93%. IMDb gives it 8.3.
That's pretty good.
So The Pit on Max. You can also find it on Hulu, Roku, and Amazon Prime. Now, back for a 4th season is a show called CB Strike, which I watched, and I know I talked about it on this podcast several years ago, but season 4 is back. It's based on the best-selling novels by Robert Galbraith, a.k.a. J.K. Rowling's. This is a crime thriller that J.K. Rowling has been writing under the name Robert Galbraith. And it stars Tom Burke, who was in The Musketeers, as a private detective. Cormoran Strike, a former war veteran now working out of a cramped London office, together with his assistant Robin Elcott, Cormoran tackles cases that have, so far, baffled the police. Though struggling with the psychological and physical toll that combat have wrought on him, Cormoran is well equipped to delve into complex conundrums thanks to his background as a special investigation branch investigator. He's a character that's missing the lower portion of one of his legs, so he has a prosthetic leg, and I just enjoy this. It's shot in London. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 77%. IMDb gives it 7.9%. It's on Max, but it's also available on Hulu, Amazon Prime. Let's see. It looks like on any of the premium subscriptions for Hulu and Amazon Prime or the Roku channel, you can get this show. I think it's a terrific detective crime drama, and I've really enjoyed it. So I watched the first 3 seasons, so season 4 is dropped. You talked about High Potential last week.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I'd mention that I watched the final episode of season 1, and I just want to reiterate it's been picked up for a season 2. So if you want to get invested, check out season 1 of High Potential. I think it's really well done. Caitlin Olsen is a very likable actress. She does a great job. You may remember her from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She was in The Mick, which was a short-lived series that I enjoyed. High Potential gets 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.7 on IMDb. So check that out. It's a great cast. And then finally, I caught up a little bit on the new Matlock with Kathy Bates. And again, Rotten Tomatoes gives this 100%. Can you imagine? 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb gives it 7.6%. It's on Paramount Plus, but you can also find it on Hulu or Amazon Prime if you're a premium subscriber. I think on Apple TV you have to pay $1.99 to watch it, or I guess that's an episode. So Matlock with Kathy Bates, Jason Ritter, Leah Lewis, Sky Marshall, Beau Bridges. It's a great ensemble cast again, and it takes place in a high-powered lawyer's office.
Love it. I love it.
And that's what I've been watching, Al. What have you been watching?
Wow, Dave. So busy week, but was able to squeeze in a few things. So this week, as I mentioned, Fire Aid, which is the evening of music and solidarity for the fire disasters that happened in SoCal, in the LA area. And there was a star-studded event happened in 2 different places, Intuit Dome and over at the Kia Forum. And that happened on January 30th, and it streamed everywhere. When I mean everywhere, I mean everywhere, from Peacock to Paramount to YouTube to Hulu to Disney Plus, Max, everywhere on the radio.
What night
TikTok.
was that on? Because I don't know where I was, but I missed it.
Oh, man, it was everywhere. It was January 30th, so it just happened a few days ago.
So it was Thursday. It was Thursday of last week.
It's produced by the Irving Azoff family, and produced by Live Nation as well. And so there's a bunch of people in there. And I will just say, before I run into the list and what I thought about the event, I hope, and whenever a disaster like this happens, that we can count on celebrities to donate their time and their resources to help those less fortunate. I think, it escapes me, Dave. I don't know if there was fundraisers for the Carolinas or for, I think there was some for Hawaii and the devastation that happened there. But it's always great to see these type of things happen. And well,
I think also in the epicenter of entertainment, Los Angeles, there was so many celebrities and if you weren't directly affected by the fires, Aljon, you knew probably dozens of people in the business who were
100%.
And I would hope that they would have done something like that here. I don't know about North Carolina, but this certainly was an apocalyptic event in Los Angeles.
100%. I think one thing that I'll say is it was a star-studded event, and they did the thing where you had 2 venues, which was really good for obvious reasons, because as the stream happened and people were watching, it gave enough time for performers to kind of get on stage and do their thing. And they had kind of like this band and then kind of solo artist acoustic thing. And then they went to a big band and they went back and forth. So the time that they spent in between sets, and there really were truncated sets, anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes. It was a 5-hour show, Dave. It was a long show. But you had Billie Eilish, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gracie Abrams, Jelly Roll, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Lil Baby, Olivia Rodrigo, Peso Pluma, Rod Stewart, Stevie Wonder, Sting, Tay McRae, Alanis Morissette, Anderson .Paak, Dave Matthews, and John Mayer, Dallas Graham Nash, Green Day, John Fogerty, Joni Mitchell, Pink, No Doubt, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stephen Stills, Stevie Nicks, and the Black Crowes. My gosh, Dave. Wow.
Yeah, I saw some clips. I saw a clip of Green Day. I saw a clip of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's great because you saw some of my guitars there on stage, which was awesome.
yeah. I noticed Flea in the Red Hot Chili Peppers is wearing actually black briefs now.
Oh, he's actually instead of being naked,
instead of the sock,
instead of the skivvies. Yeah,
instead of the sock covering up his manhood.
That's right. Well, everybody grows up sometime. But I will say that overall, just the talent was great. A lot of my favorite bands. And I think the great thing was there were musicians from every decade of rock and roll represented, just about every decade of rock and roll that's still living, which was great. When you have people like, Jelly Roll, very contemporary, along with Graham Nash and Stephen Stills, John Fogerty, and the amazing Joni Mitchell. I mean, how can you go wrong with that, right? I mean, it's pretty...
I saw an interview with Jelly Roll.
Yeah?
And he just seems like a really nice guy.
No kidding.
Who is just thrilled not to be in prison.
Yeah.
And is out there doing whatever he can. And, he's done some light acting.
Yep.
In fact, he was he did a cameo in King of Tulsa.
Yeah.
With Stallone. And again, like I said, he just seems like a nice enough guy.
He is really just nice, but even more than that, or in addition to that, he's uber talented and just just one of those great great performers. I think he just kind of he paid his dues. He came up in the business and did his thing. But I think that there's so many great artists on it. The only thing that was a drawback for me, because the feed was really good and the quality of the feed was good, was just the audio. There are times where it sounded very hollow and not present, and some things in the mix. But that's to be expected when you have these bands come up and do these things. I've been part of those type of events where you have multiple bands, multiple stages, and things are just like, you just get up there and you play, and you hope to God that the sound engineers know their stuff so that you can get up there and put on the best performance you can. And there were times when, specifically I could see that Gwen Stefani was messing with her monitors because she probably couldn't hear herself. Or there was a Nirvana reunion, Dave. They had the members of Nirvana. You had Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic, and you had Pat Smear on there with St. Vincent up there, and St. Vincent was performing the Kurt Cobain parts, and she was singing, and there was a delay in her voice and stuff, and you do the best you can, and you try to entertain the crowd. So I think but that's live music, and I think that seeing that live art and people that are professionals do their thing, I think is very inspiring. So congratulations to the team at Fire Aid for putting on a great show, even with the technical snafus.
And I'm wondering, did they A, record it, which I'm sure they did, and B, are they going to do anything other than the live performance? Are they going to, make it available? Are they going to trim it down? Are they going to, put it together as a concert film? Are they going to put out an album? What are the ancillary things that they're going to do that'll actually boost the revenue for the charity that they were doing?
Well, if anything, they should. They could, and they should. I know that maybe some of the performances may not have been the best because of those technical snafus that I mentioned, but I think in the spirit of what they're trying to do, even if they were to just monetize the YouTube videos and package it up and do whatever, I know you can still see it. And break it down into clips. I think the monetization of that will certainly help the victims of the fire. So, and they're selling merchandise too. If you just go to fireaidla.org, you can go check out the merch, which is really neat. So,
cool.
Really cool stuff there. All right, so let's move into the other things we saw. I saw something that I've been putting off for a minute, but I finally saw with my wife, Mary. And Mary is the recounting of the story of Mary and the birth of Christ, which is very interesting. You can see this on Netflix, and it was hyped up here. We live in Nashville, the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. So I'm kind of, inundated with this stuff when this movie came out, but we wanted to give it a shot because the cast is really good. You've got
now, this is live action, right?
This is live action.
Okay.
So Noah Cohen plays Mary, a great job. Ido Taco plays Joseph, Ori Pfeiffer as Joachim, Hilla Vador as Anne, and Anthony Hopkins as Herod. And Anthony Hopkins, my gosh, it's just so good. And it's directed by DJ Caruso, who's done a bunch of great work in and of himself. He's done I Am Number 4, which is a good movie, Eagle Eye, In the Nick of Time, Triple X. So he's a great director. This film basically talks about Mary giving birth, but gives you a little bit of a backstory of her upbringing, her family, which is not told in the Bible. And there's a lot of stuff that this is based on. There are some non-canon books of the Bible that are out there, which do chronicle that. And so I will say that it's, very highly stylized, if you will. I won't say
they took some artistic
license. Very good, Dave. Very good. Thank you for that. But once again, it's just a coming of age story, and it literally stops when Jesus is born, and here comes the three wise men and all that. Very good cinematography, very good acting, and but they did take some liberties. But once again, this is a thing about these types of stories and Bible stories, is that you weren't there. No one was there. All you can do is just take whatever you have and try to craft a narrative. And I think they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, which was tell a very compelling story about this kind of historic moment, because it, so very good. I give it a 7 out of 10. Some people give it about a 5 out of 10. And I think a lot of people are just kind of maybe off put by some of the historical facts of it all. But I think if you just remove that kind of stuff, it is very good and entertaining. And Anthony Hopkins, my gosh, is great. Now, I also saw on Disney Plus Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And this project was put into motion several years ago, known to a lot of people as Spider-Man Freshman Year. It's an animated series on Disney Plus that follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming Spider-Man in the MCU, with the journey unlike nothing we've ever seen, in a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots. So, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, everyone knows I'm a big Spider-Man fan, big Marvel fan. What I love about this is the accuracy and homage to Steve Ditko's art style, which is great. So you have Peter Parker with the big round glasses and the sweater and the sweater vest and the jacket, akin to the original art of the comic books from 1960s, which is great. It's cel shaded. It's great, very smooth, but also anytime Peter Parker's on the phone with one of his classmates in his freshman years, he's going into high school, they do the kind of comic book panel treatment where they do the split screen, and then you can see the comic panel of things and action moving from one to the next, which is really nice. So there's some great homages and Easter eggs. This does take liberties as well. This happens in the multiverse, all right? So the boilerplate is kind of misleading. It says on his journey of being in the MCU Spider-Man in his freshman year. That's really not the case. It's an Elseworlds story. It's a multiverse story, because the Doctor Strange that kind of cameos in here, and the way he does his spider bite, and the way that Aunt May is portrayed, there are certain things that are there. And of course, Iron Man is in this universe, but he doesn't befriend Iron Man until later on in his MCU career. So there are different paths that they're taking, but I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be good, because it still lends us to some entertaining stuff in this story. There's no MJ, there's no Ned Leeds, there is no Iron Man, or at least no friendship with Iron Man yet. But it's a fun story. They dropped 2 episodes, and I think if you give it a chance, I think you'll enjoy it. My kids love it, but I love it too, just because of the reverence they have for the source material, especially Steve Ditko's art, which I really, really appreciate. So all the comic book.
You know,
Easter eggs.
I was going to say, Aljon, there was some dust up about the guy that voices Spider-Man and some tweet. You know, I read an article this past week about that, and also Anthony Mackie with the new
Captain America.
Captain America film that's coming out in a week or two. You know, it's really sad to me when people try to spin something out of nothing. And make a big deal out of something that really isn't there. I kind of feel like we're getting beyond all of that, because some of this stuff is starting to, you know, it'll pop up, but it doesn't get any traction.
Yeah, you know, I heard about some of that in the background, and honestly, I just don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah,
because I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. It happens with Star Wars all the time. What I'm really tired of is being told how I should feel and how I should act. And I'm really tired of trying to be entertained and being lectured by people that make a whole hell of a lot more than me.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate that. This is me. I like what I like, and I like Marvel movies. I like Star Wars movies. And if it sucks, then I'm going to tell you it sucks. It's not because of any political situation or whatever. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I just look at the art for what it is, and I leave all that stuff behind. I'm here to tell you what entertains me. And I can tell you that I'm entertained by Spider-Man. I'm hoping.
Good.
I
love Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm hoping. And I hope to get your take on it, Dave, because I like the art style a lot. And I know we're fans of just kind of, you know, looking at these things and saying what other art styles can be represented to kind of break things up from that kind of Pixar-esque, everything kind of looking like a Pixar movie kind of animation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, everything looking the same. I think you've mentioned this, and some of our guests had mentioned this, that everything looks, you know, the same-itis kind of situation. So I think I look at this as good on Marvel Animation for championing shows like the X-Men 97 and for championing stuff like, you know, Spider-Man, which is definitely different. And What If? I think What If is also a different style, and everything's done in a different style. I appreciate it. So anyway, gang, let us know what you think in our show. Just email us or send us a note. We'd appreciate it.
And by the way, we do hear from. No, that's okay. We've been hearing from listeners saying, you know, I've gotten a number of notes from people saying thanks for turning me on to, you know, this or that, or I wouldn't have found this if I hadn't heard it from you on the show. You know, so I'm glad that people like this segment of the show.
Oh yeah, and we like talking about it. Trust me, it breaks up the whole Disney of it all, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right, Dave. Dogman wagging away on top with 10.8 million opening day. Companion Sparks in second. Dave, who let the Dogman out? Universal Pictures did, and this party is nice, according to Variety. Variety and author J. Kim Murphy had wrote, this party is pumping for the studio. DreamWorks Animation caper earned 10.8 million across Friday over the weekend screenings. Of course, as we record this, the weekend numbers are not complete. But that's really cool. You know, I mean, this is something that I would not have expected to be number one, but this is the calm before the storm. Now that Black History Month is happening, you know that Marvel is going to release the Sam Wilson Captain America movie to kind of break things off. You know that's going to do record numbers. At least I would hope it does. What do you say about this box office news here?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to go see Dogman.
Okay.
I've seen the trailers in the theaters several times over the last few weeks, and it just looks really fun and ridiculous and cartoony and just everything you want in animation. It seems to have. So I'm going to go see this in the theater, and I'll report next week on it.
I can't wait. I'd love to take the kids to go see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's being the first family targeted new release of the year. Of course, Mufasa, The Lion King, of course, was released during the holiday season. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. My kids love Sonic, so I can't. And I love Sonic too. I'll be honest. I think that's great that Jim Carrey is still doing stuff in that franchise. So it's I think family films are making a comeback in a big way, and that's great. All right, Dave. So as we record this, the Grammys haven't taken place yet, but I will say that it looks like it's going to be a big freaking show. The predictions are the women are going to run away with a lot of trophies. Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Chappell Rowan, poised to rule Ladies' Night, according to Hollywood Reporter. Of course, top female talents have been in full force over the past few years with really strong releases. You've got Beyonce, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, and so many others. Just to give people an idea, I had a list of Grammy nominees. But Dave, do you have anyone in particular that you're rooting for maybe record of the year, song of the year, anything like that?
Not necessarily, although I think, Beyonce with her country album, she's gotten a lot of nominations, didn't she?
Oh yeah, she's there for sure.
So, but something, it's an award ceremony I don't necessarily follow, Aljon.
Okay, well, I'll be honest. I am done with award shows pretty much in general, so I usually watch the performance clips. But it is interesting to see who wins. I think, if I'm to be honest, Dave, I think a lot of award shows, people are just so full of themselves. I just don't want to see it, to be honest.
I hear you.
But it is interesting to see. We talked about record of the year. It's really great to see the Beatles there with Now and Then.
I was going to say, I know the Beatles got a nomination with the Now and Then song, and I think that's, that would be absolutely amazing if they actually won record of the year.
It would be amazing, right? And then, of course, Texas Hold'em by Beyonce, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, probably one of the biggest records over the past year. Charlie XCX's 360, Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, Good Luck Babe by Chappell Rowan, Fortnite by Taylor Swift, of course, featuring Post Malone. Those are all great records in their own right. I listened to them all. I will say that, the Beatles is great for record of the year. I'm a big fan of Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter because it's just to me, that ear candy, it's hard for me not to listen to that and just not tap my foot. It's just amazing stuff. But all of them are great.
The thing I'll say about record of the year, how can you not give it to the Beatles? Right?
Well, I don't disagree.
Listen up,
I don't
people.
disagree.
Just give it to the Beatles. Just give it to the Beatles. Every other artist who's nominated in that category would nod their head and go, "Yeah, absolutely, give it to the Beatles." I don't want to be the one that beats out the Beatles.
You know what? I think you're right, and I think that just being nominated along with the Beatles, I think, is great company. So, congratulations to all of our nominees. Of course, album of the year too. You've got Andre 3000. You've got Beyonce, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, a lot of the same folks, Jacob Collier, Billie Eilish, Chappell Rowan, and Taylor Swift. Once again, all of those are great albums in their own right as well. I want rock and roll to make a comeback. Please, radio, please, people, bring rock and roll back, bring guitar music back. It's something that's been missing. We need organic. We need guitars, and let's lay off the synth, please. That's just a little personal service PSA for me.
I hear you.
Okay. All right. So now, Dave, Sundance. All right. Everybody looks at Sundance to see what kind of great films and art is coming out, but it looks like the second film pulled from an online portal after Pirate Cliff Surface happens. It was first a Selena Quintanilla documentary, of course, the big Selena documentary, and now James Sweeney's Twinless has been pulled from the festival's online screening platform because they take, quote, copyright infringement extremely seriously. Why is this happening? Why?
Because there's a lot of people out there who don't give a shit. And I'm sorry, you could bleep me out on that. They don't care about respecting people and their work. You know, I had a situation on my Patreon page, Aljon, a year and a half, 2 years ago, where I put a clip up just for my Patreon followers to see, and somebody ripped it and put it out on the internet.
Oh,
You know,
seriously?
and that's really, you know, it's despicable when people do that. You think they'd be respectful. They think that, you know, when you put something up for them to see, that they have some sort of license to just rip it and put it out and do whatever they want with, and they don't. You know, and it's made me pull back on putting stuff up. I'm very careful now about what I put up on my Patreon page.
Oh man, that's horrible. You know, I think it's important that you know, that you respect that kind of stuff, and that if you pay for stuff, it should be special to you. I don't blame people if they want to pay a premium for that kind of stuff. When you go to Sundance and things, if you're, I know that I've had a lot of press credentials over time, and if I get a press screener for a film or a TV show or whatever, I'm not going to share it with anybody. I'm not going to surely not going to put it online, especially if it's watermarked. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, you know something? I'm a member of the Motion Picture Academy. We used to get, I used to get 60 or 70 DVDs every year.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of them, they were sent to me when the movie was still in the theaters.
Sure, of course.
Right.
Of course.
And I never lent those out. I never ripped stuff from I never did anything other than able to watch them in my home.
Yeah.
Right. You know, for you know, my purposes as an Academy member.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, there was somebody who years ago who was lending out those DVDs, and somebody took one of the DVDs and ripped it and was making bootleg copies. They tracked that disc down to the member, and he was bounced out of the Academy. Oof. And he was fined and all kinds of stuff, you know, and it's just reprehensible when people do that kind of stuff, and it's always going to be there. So there's always bad actors out there that are going to do this kind of stuff, but it's just really a shame, I think.
Unbelievable. Well, on a good news note, Disney creates happiness for families of fallen military heroes. Just recently, Disney had the privilege of creating happiness for service members and their families, recognizing the many sacrifices they make for our country. We recently had the honor, we being Walt Disney World, to make some magic for team members of U.S. military heroes along with fallen British service members, and our third time hosting this group for a special day of fun at the Walt Disney Resort alongside the National Football League, of course, the NFL. And so it's really nice that these families were able to go as part of the NFL Pro Bowl experience organized by the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, also known as TAPS. And this nonprofit is focused on providing compassionate care for comprehensive resources to loved ones of fallen military heroes. And it's really great. You know, we talk about Disney. Of course, we're very critical of Disney because we love Disney. But it's great that they're able to open up their gates and show families that have suffered extreme loss, and bring them happiness in a way where the whole family can try to take a few hours out of, of suffering and just enjoy the time that they have together as a family. So a lot of heartwarming stuff there. This is what Disney does best.
And you know, Aljon, I'll tell you that Disney does not get enough credit for doing these types of things throughout the year. You know, they're the largest grantor of Make-A-Wish Foundation wishes in this country. And they do a lot of good things behind the scenes that they don't really publicize or take credit for, and they should once in a while be put in the spotlight for it, because they really do a lot of good things for, sick children, and for, like this, military families of fallen heroes and things like that. It's just absolutely fantastic. And this is one of the giant, really good facets of the Walt Disney Company.
100%. Kudos to you guys at Walt Disney World and Disney Parks for taking some time for these families. Now, in tragic news, I will say that I grew up watching He-Man and Masters of the Universe. My wife did too, and now we're slowly getting the kids involved in it. They're getting to that point where
Wait a second. No obituary roll call.
this is it. This is an obituary world.
I'm
sorry.
Did you?
Oh, Dave.
You didn't run our little bumper.
Oh my gosh, Dave, where am I at? Here we go. I'm so sorry. It's like, where am I head at?
Obituary roll call.
Oh man, obituary roll
Thank you.
call. Dave.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. Where am I? Where's my manners, Dave? John Irwin, the voice actor for He-Man and Archie cartoons, dies at the age of 88. He also had the reoccurring he recurred on the Clint Eastwood series Rawhide and was finicky as Morris the Cat on TV commercials in the 1970s. I had no idea. Now I'm going to have to go and check out the Morris the Cat commercials. But this is an iconic voice of the 80s. When I think of and I was thinking about this when you had posted this passing, being 88 years old, he lived a great life. And I'm trying to think of the quintessential 80s cartoons of me growing up, and He-Man and Masters of the Universe is definitely on that list. It may not be in my Mount Rushmore of 80s cartoons, but definitely something I love, especially from the Filmation house that did it. Dave, did you ever work for Filmation?
No, I knew a ton of people who would work for Filmation. And when I say no, I mean, I may have done some freelance, 35 years ago or something when I was just starting out, but I never worked there full time. Okay. I may have picked up some freelance or something like that. But really it would have been minimal. But I knew a lot of people that worked for Filmation and people that worked on, we've had guests on the show that worked on the He-Man show.
Yeah, so I think even Darlie may have done it. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly if she did or not, but I will say this, this voice is iconic. And so, rest in peace, John Irwin. What an amazing voice for He-Man. Speaking of amazing voices,
I sit and watch the children play.
Marianne Faithfull, As Tears Go By, the big hit, of course, composed by the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Andrew Loog Oldham, if I'm not mistaken, As Tears Go By. That's just an iconic song. Marianne Faithfull passes away this week at the age of 78.
She had an amazing career with both ups and real downs.
Certainly. And she was an actress, as you said, the it girl of the 60s, subject of the Rolling Stone songs Wild Horses and Sister Morphine. The British singer who scored hits, including what you just heard, As Tears Go By and Broken English. She went from a highly publicized romantic relationship with Mick Jagger to worldwide fame in her own right. She passed away Thursday. She was 78. Wow. I mean, I remember Marianne Faithfull because she cameoed on that Metallica song, which was, pretty amazing at the time. I mean, it was the 90s, right? So, so it was really cool to hear Memory Remains from their 1997 Reloaded. Of course, Metallica remembers her fondly in a tweet they sent out. But she kind of had a resurgence around that time. I didn't realize, though, that she was only 79. I actually thought she was much older. But, of course, you kind of alluded to the ups and downs of her career, Dave.
Oh no! I mean, she was in the thick of it, in the midst of the rock and roll of the late '60s into the early '70s, and then she really took a fall. I mean, she had a heroin addiction. She became homeless. It's almost the typical cycle of some people that shoot to stardom and are, like you said, she was the it girl of the '60s. And then she wasn't, and she kind of hit rock bottom, but she, to her credit, was able to come back out of that and put out a couple more albums and, collaborate with other groups, like you mentioned, Metallica. So really, what an insane career.
Absolutely. Well, we can go back and listen to her great work. I think those songs sound timeless. And remember, Marianne Faithfull, 78. Rest in peace. Yeah. Well, gang, now it's time for us to sit back and relax, checking out the interview Dave did with the Bancroft brothers, Tom and Tony. They're going to be at the animation, actually the hosts, the founders of the Animation Yell Expo. So please sit back and relax and enjoy their interview right here on Skull Rock Podcast.
Let's do it.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, we've got two fantastic guests, each of whom has been on the Skull Rock Podcast in the past, but this is the first time that we're having Tony and Tom Bancroft, the veteran animators and directors, on the Skull Rock Podcast at the same time. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Thank you so much.
Now,
I know. I think a lot of people think of us as like the Jackson. You know, it's like when Michael Jackson and you never see Janet and Michael in the same room.
Yeah, or Superman and Clark Kent.
Maybe that's a better example.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, this is really a rare occasion that we're going to have both of you on at the same time. So look, when I had you guys on the Skull Rock Podcast individually, I know I asked you about this. Who was the older of the two twins? Now that I have you together, there's no doubt.
There's no
doubt here, right?
Oh,
you gotta be straight on this. Who was the first to be born?
Sorry, Tony. I thought you were gonna say it, Dave.
No, go ahead. Who was the first to be born?
I think you'll be surprised, Dave, to find out that it was Tom. Actually, was the first to be born.
Tom is your older brother.
He is my older brother by 3 whole minutes. Yes,
okay,
that's right.
Now, my second question, and I know our listeners are going to want, they're wanting to know this. Who is the evil twin?
Oh, well, that's obvious, too.
Tony wasn't exactly like laying there taking his time. He was pushing me out.
Oh, okay. I see. He wanted the warmth and the coziness all to himself.
I wasn't going anywhere. I mean,
I wanted a womb with a view.
Oh, there you go. Well, listen, guys, look, it's wonderful seeing you both. And what I wanted to talk about and what we've been talking about here on the Skull Rock Podcast for months now, every week we're talking about the Animation You All Expo that's happening in Nashville, Tennessee, February 21st to the 23rd. It is the inaugural Animation Expo for Nashville.
More than Nashville, probably like the South. We keep saying, and we're pretty sure about this. But there's been anime, fan fest, things with cosplay and stuff, but nothing like this that's a professional animation expo in the South at all.
We know
California.
A friend of ours does one in Utah. But that's not considered the South, right? Can we all agree on that?
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. Yeah, so let me ask you this: How did this expo come about? Were you guys just sitting around polishing off a bottle of wine and say, "Hey, we should just do an expo"? How did it happen?
I'll start it. I had started the Lipscomb animation program at Lipscomb University about 10 years ago, and in that development, there was always a dream of, well, we got to get recruiters out here. This is where it started. Okay. We got to get recruiters out here from the big studios. When we get a little bit bigger, when we get the kids cook a little bit more, and we've been doing this for around 5 years, I would start looking into that, right? I wasn't going to do it right away. I wanted our program to get on its feet and get the students really going, the teachers and all that.
And let me ask you this, Tom. You started the program at Lipscomb University. You now head the program. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
Okay. Yeah, so let's hear that.
I did, and then I gave that job to Tony. So he is now the animation
I'm now
director.
the animation program director at Lipscomb.
Okay.
Now, because, Dave, as you know, we worked together in California. I stayed in California pretty much my whole career up until 2.5 years ago when Tom started going, hey, Tony, he called me one day and he's like, hey, I've got this animation studio going now, Pencil Studios. I really want to devote my time to that. I'm looking for a replacement to take over my spot here at Lipscomb. Will you do it? I was already teaching and heading up a program in California at APU, Azusa Pacific University. And I said, yeah, my wife and I have been looking for an opportunity to move to Nashville to be closer to Tom, but we also have
Well,
a
your
sister
kids had
here.
the last of your kids had graduated college, and
Yeah, it
you were
was a
kind of
good
looking
time. It
for
was like we were
the
empty
next phase.
nesters all of a sudden, and
Mhm.
next phase was, hey, maybe we're needed out there in Tennessee. So Renee and I moved, and here we are.
Right.
So let me ask you this then. Did you tell the university, or did you just step aside, Tom, and Tony just slid in and nobody was
still
the
don't know.
wiser?
They still don't know, Dave.
Nobody
Yeah.
has figured it out. Actually,
No, but
yeah.
I will add this that to that story, which is I didn't tell the university. I was calling Tony and basically offering him my job. I just because I knew that then if I went to
And
them
I'm
and
packing my
said,
bags. In the meantime,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready. I'm packing my bags, going, they're gonna love me there.
they didn't know for a while, but no, because I knew I wanted to go to them, and I care about this program a lot, and the students and all that, and I am still attached. I'm the founder. On paper, I'm the founder of the thing, and I'm an artist in residence now. I've kind of you could say downshifted my job to artist in residence, where I do workshops and teach the occasional class, but I wanted to go to them and break the bad news that I felt like I needed to really seriously cut back on my hours and just do, again, occasional class. And but then I would offer something. I'd be like, but here's the perfect replacement, Tony. And I think he'd be interested. And I'd already talked to Tony, of course. So it did. It worked. I mean, they were like,
how'd they take
oh,
it?
Wait.
How'd they take
Well,
it? Were they like,
honestly, they got what I was trying to pitch, which is, well, would you rather have, me kind of like semi part-time, or would you be able to like to maybe say you have both of the Bancroft brothers now? And that's how they went. They went, oh, we get both of you. Okay, if you're downshifting and all, that's not great, but still, now we have both of you. So they saw
Two for the
value.
price of one. They were like, we'll pay Tony full price, and then Tom will just be along for the ride at a lower rate.
wow.
I got his scraps. Yeah.
No, but it has worked out great though, because we have tag team, and I feel like we're taking the Lipscomb program to the next level now. We have a master's degree now that's been added, and I've been working on that. So undergraduate and graduate level degrees are offered now in the animation department. So we're over 150 students in the department now, so it's been steadily growing. We want to keep it somewhat small and boutique, so
we do have a ceiling to the program for sure. We could be a much bigger program if we wanted, but this way they get mentorship, and that's really important to both Tony and I.
It sounds to me like the 4-year bachelor program is sort of like Cal Arts, where there's like Cal Arts, there's 30 students a year, right? So if they all stayed for the 4 years, you'd have 120 in the program. We know that doesn't necessarily happen.
That still doesn't happen.
But you're about 35 or so, 36 per year into a 4-year program or so. Right?
We may be even downsizing a little bit more because we feel like it's gotten a little too big. So we might even be cinching our belt a little bit. We definitely turn away more applications and more portfolios than we do bring them on. But it's what I think a boutique studio kind of base program should be anyway. It should be very selective.
And you do the students a disservice if they're not ready to be in the program, honestly. And because we always say, well, we have 4 years with you. We could either teach you how to draw in 4 years, or we could teach you how to animate in 4 years.
Yeah.
We can't do both.
Right.
And so if they can't draw well enough to really be able to kind of come in and they're only going to get better. It's not like they have to be a perfect artist, but they do have to have really strong basic principles,
the fundamentals
behind them.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that was what Cal Arts was always about, even back when Tony and I went there. They did every once in a while invite a few people in that were not ready because they needed the money. But most of the time, it was always, and more so now than ever, it's a program where you got to be pretty darn good just to get in, and so that's kind of what we base ours off of. So we are we call ourselves the Cal Arts of the South, honestly, not on any marketing materials.
No,
No,
they-
I get
Yeah.
that. Hey, you're talking
Yeah.
to a trustee of Cal Arts. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's okay. Man. We're not stealing anything, Dave.
No, but I think that I think it's awesome though that
Yeah.
you're keeping a bar where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So really, this Animation Y'all Expo is an outgrowth of this greater vision of the
Yeah,
animation
well,
program at
and
Lipscomb.
let me land that plane. I didn't quite finish that story,
Yeah.
which is I'd always wanted to get the recruiters to come out, and so I had started talking to Tony because we would talk all the time. He's running APU at that time, and I'm running Lipscomb. They're really unofficially sister schools because they're both Christian
true.
schools for one, but also we were, talking back and forth. We were even sharing some of our syllabuses and stuff. And so we were kind of basing the programs very similarly off each other's programs. And so I had started saying, yeah, I want to work up to within the next couple of years, getting recruiters to come out and really making like a portfolio day and all this. And maybe it's a weekend and we bring up Aaron
And
Blaze
a
or
producer show
yeah,
kind of thing.
right.
screening,
But we have like a
screening,
guest
yeah.
speaker come and that started to become where I was headed. And then Tony jumped the gun and he did it at APU first. And they had like a whole big event.
What
and a
now? What's
screening.
AP? What was APU?
Azusa Pacific University.
Okay,
So-
that's I
and
wanted our
Azusa-
listeners to understand what APU was.
Right.
Okay.
And so we did our very first big kind of screening and portfolio day. We went to Warner Brothers Studios, which is like down the freeway from APU. And it worked out great. We rented the night. We got a red carpet event, and everybody showed their animation films, their shorts that they had produced, all the juniors and seniors. And we involved, the theater group did something. And it was a big night, and we had all these recruiters come in. And that was my last year there. That was kind of one of my goals, was to be there for 4 years, get the program started, and also have a big splashy, this is who we are kind of event. Now, Lipscomb, we've done that already since Tom stepped out a little bit, as he has. I've brought in this portfolio show that we do every year for the seniors, and we've done that a couple years running. But Tom and I always had this dream of doing an expo, and ever since Tina Price started CTN Animation Expo back in Burbank, I've been talking to her about it. We've supported that show for years and years.
About 10 years in a row.
And now now that we're both here in Tennessee, we take students from here out to Pasadena, go to Lightbox Expo. But all these big animation shows and illustration and artist shows, they're all out there in California. So we're like, if I come out there, this is our conversation back when I was in California. If I ever come out there, we have to do something. And it's going to be part of Lipscomb, and it's going to be part of the growth of where we see animation going in Nashville. So it's not just about Lipscomb. It's not just about having an expo. It's building towards creating a bigger industry for animation in Nashville.
So
That's our ultimate goal.
creating an anchor point for the animation community in that part of the country.
And growing it so we actually get more work in. Like we're talking to the state government about, tax breaks and tax credits, just like Atlanta has and overseas studios or countries have. We're trying to develop that here in Nashville now so that we can go to the next level, which is we actually get industry work coming this way.
Hey, Aljon and I have talked multiple times on our program about the Tennessee animation mafia. Right, the Nashville animation mafia.
John Pomeroy,
because you got John Pomeroy.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of folks involved in animation that are settling in and around the Nashville area. And let's not forget, Hendel Butoy is over at Southern Adventist University with their animation program,
Chattanooga,
out in Chattanooga in the eastern end of the state.
Yeah, we have actually one of his students, undergrad students, came and has taken the MFA with us at Lipscomb. So we have already kind of an indirect relationship with that.
Have you been in touch with him at all, or no?
A little bit. I have through the student Tom was just referring to.
Okay.
And she's making a film. He's been involved with it, and now he's involved with us. we're talking about having him out as a guest speaker, actually. So
You
that's
really
coming up.
should. You
I would love
absolutely
that.
should. I went and visited him and spoke at his in his program many years ago. I went there for a couple of days, and it's a great program. And he's a terrific individual. You know, I worked with him
He
on
really is.
Fantasia 2000. So.
And probably Rescuers Down Under too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, on Rescuers as well. So
Yeah.
you know my resume better than me.
Well, I want to throw one more in. How about Oliver and Company?
Yeah, that's true. Oliver
There's
and
another one.
Company as
Okay.
well. Thank you. Okay.
So
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Well, and you know, just to go into that a little deeper is that, you know, we also so we wanted to tap into the South and say, okay, there's nothing going on in the South, and let's bring everybody together. So we're really trying to court, you know, Atlanta and Georgia, you know, or Georgia, but Atlanta specifically, and you know, and then also there's SCAD over in Savannah.
In Savannah, yeah.
And you know, and then there's other schools even within Tennessee. Eastern Tennessee has a school that has some animation program, and MTSU has an animation program.
And Creative Capers is out in Johnson
Yeah.
City, Eastern Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dave
they're
Molina
still
and
straddling.
Terry Shakespeare. They still have offices in Los Angeles, but
Yeah.
they're based. They're living in Johnson City.
Oh my gosh!
I'm glad you reminded me of that too. We need to
gotta
invite
reach
him to
out.
the Animation Expo.
Yeah.
We had both Dave and Terry on the Skull Rock podcast a number of months ago. You know,
Oh, good.
great.
Then that makes them listeners, so they're probably hearing this
we
right
hope
now,
they
Tony.
are. Yeah,
I
we
hope.
hope they
Yeah.
are.
Come on out, guys.
Yeah, we are. We'd love to have you. Yeah, so like that, and that's the goal is to help students, but also to help. You know, there's so many people that want to go to Lightbox and CTN every year, but just can't. And we're hoping that this is going to be that bridge. Because we're also kind of hoping, I don't know about you, Tony, but that we never get as big as Lightbox or CTN. I wouldn't mind being a smaller boutique kind of a expo. And so that people can still go to Lightbox or CTN. We're not competing with them by any means. And come to ours, you know, and hopefully make both trips. And or if they have to pick one, you know, maybe ours fits the wallet a little bit easier if they're from around here.
But growth is also important for us too, because we do want to attract different schools, different students, different professionals from even outside of Nashville. So we're going to host it here because Nashville is a great city. This is the kind of city that people just want to go on vacation at, right?
Yeah.
They want to check out, you know, the honky tonks and the music scene and all this kind of stuff. This is like one of the number one places for bridesmaids to come to celebrate weddings and things like that. So, you know, this is already a great town for that. Why not have an animation expo too in the center of all this? Because there's such growth happening, enormous growth happening when it comes to the creative arts, filmmakers, animation, everything. It's not just music anymore in the town of Nashville.
And as far as the expo itself, how's the experience been for you? When you said, let's do an expo, where did you start with? You
We didn't know what we were getting into, Dave.
Yeah, but you consulted, right? I mean, you talked to Tina about starting it. I'm sure she was forthcoming and helping you guys. I mean, you're not competing with her.
She's great, and we also talked to Bobby Chu, and Bobby's got with his Lightbox Expo in Pasadena. His partner, his business partner. We've talked to him several times.
Jim, I at Lightbox just this last Lightbox, I kind of cornered him during Lightbox, and I said, I got to talk to you about all these people walking around that are helping you guys that are the, I can't remember what they call them, the volunteer. They call them light bugs or something like that, or lightning bugs.
Lightning bugs.
I think they're lightning bugs. Anyway. How does that work? How do you get them? Are you paying them? You know, like I got into all the nitty gritty with him, and it was an eye opener so that did help a lot. Just that
because it takes a lot of people to do these kinds of events. You can't.
It really does.
Yeah, you can't just say I'm going to do an expo. You got to have you got an army of volunteers.
Yeah. Even though it's our first year, we plan on being almost, if not sold out, because our capacity at the school is around 500 total. and we're already sold over 430 tickets, and we still got a month and so that's also a
Right.
call to anybody. If you're going to get a ticket, get it now before we sell out, because we already sold out for Friday night, and Saturday and Sunday are still available. So it's going fast.
Yeah, Friday, just so you know, Friday is like a VIP ticket, and that, like Tony said, is already sold out. And it comes with a dinner with a lot of our guests that were flying in. And I just want to dive into that. Like, why aren't we, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to have Disney animation legend officially, Mark Henn
Right.
here. And we're also going to have, let's see, Annie Award-winning, Winsor McKay Award-winning artist animator Aaron Blaise here.
Right. Is he
Yeah,
now? Is he
will
going to
have-
screen? Is he going to screen Snow Bear?
Yep,
Yes.
he sure is.
Fantastic,
Yeah, so
fantastic.
Saturday night,
Excellent.
it's a separate ticket. I want to say that out loud only because I think people have been a little confused thinking they buy the ticket for the expo, they get into this. But it's more than just a screening of his short. It's an hour and a half presentation on the making of and
Right.
stuff. It's going to be a real education in itself and a fun time. So we're doing that Saturday night. It's going to be an evening thing, and it is a separate ticket price, but it's very low. So I don't think it'll be it'll hold anybody back from coming.
And then of course John Pomeroy is one of our
Right.
guests.
John
of
is going to be there. I knew he was
Yeah.
coming.
We're not counting Tony and I because we kind of are going to be busy, but we'll be around. And but Shannon Hallstein is another more up and coming concept artist that is just wonderful, like an amazing artist. And we knew that there were going to be a group that, because we didn't want it to be a bunch of old people like Tony and I. So
well, and also 2D, we want it to be more about kind of the whole breadth of animation, right?
Yeah,
It's
you
not
wanted
just
more
about-
youngsters like me there.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course Dave is coming too. So yeah, we're stacked on the old white guys, I guess.
But yeah, we have a lot of the next gen artists that are here, but a lot of them are exhibitors too. We have over 50 exhibitors, which Dave, thank you. You're one of them. You actually have two tables, one for the podcast and then one for your publishing.
The Skull Rock podcast is going to be there. The Old Mill Press is going to be there. I'll be signing some of my books, and Bob Weiss, the former president of Walt Disney Imagineering, is slated to come. Although I'm going to say I'm going to put a caveat on that. Mm-hmm. He is slated to come, but because of the Altadena fires, he's currently displaced. He didn't lose his house, but he had a lot of smoke damage, smoke and soot. So his house is still standing. So he's waiting to find out when the cleaning crews are going to be landing to make his house inhabitable again. But right now he is slated to be there.
Oh, good.
And of course,
awesome.
Al John Go with Gibson Guitars and my co-host on the Skull Rock podcast. We're going to be there, and we're bringing a ton of swag to give away.
Oh, great.
And I'm sure your listeners know, but Al John already lives here. So
yes, he does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
by the way, Al John and I have never been in the same room together, except he'll tell you, like, 10, 12 years ago, he interviewed me for 5 minutes at a D23. I don't remember it.
You don't believe it.
Right? But
what
happen.
I'm
saying is, we have not been in the same room in a meaningful way, like having a conversation,
as peers,
having dinner as peers, as the co-hosts of this podcast. For the 5 years we've been doing it, we've never been in the same room. So
Tony and I do a podcast, as you know, but we have seen each other from time to time.
Yes,
we've actually been in the same room.
Right,
we were born together, so we go. We do have that advantage,
and Christmases and things like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and our whole youth and upbringing.
So you have a lot of people from the animation community coming.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of locals. We did want this first year to have a real local vibe to it, to be really pro Nashville.
Yeah.
So, but even within that, like you were saying earlier, Dave, is like so many different people have come here. Pros from Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and stuff have already migrated out here. So those people are all going to be here as honorary Nashvillians now that they are, just like me. And so now it just is, it's feeling like so pro based. It's just like,
Well, and I want to throw in too
Green.
that our exhibitors, I'm just as proud of our exhibitors, the lineup of exhibitors, as I am this amazing lineup of guests that we have, because we really handpicked them. I mean, honestly, it's very a curated group. It wasn't just anybody that would plop down the money and all that. The first ones get the.
I feel honored because
You should.
I thought I just plopped my money down.
I know. I hope that's something we share with Lightbox a little bit, because I know they're also very selective and they kind of change people out and all that. You're not guaranteed a spot every year. And so, we've been listening to Bobby and Jim on theirs, and I know Tina's the same way. She curates it too. So I think that's very important, because a lot of Comic Cons, I will say, they don't. If especially smaller ones, they don't do the curation. They're just like anybody that pops down money and gets a table, because they're out to get money. And as we all know, who's going kind of matters, right?
I agree with you, and I think also this is the inaugural event, so you want it to be a little bit, like you said, boutique-ish, I think is a good word to use, and you want it to be special. You really, want, sort of a little bit of a creme de la creme coming in, and sort of keep it that way, going forward. Although I expect to be grandfathered in, so
For our best friends,
we could probably work something out. Yeah, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
So. Tell our listeners a little bit more about the programming. So Friday night is that VIP night. And what's going to happen about that?
So I can't say exactly who's going to be our entertainment that night, because I still have yet to hear back from them. But we're going to have that VIP dinner, which you and your wife are invited to, Dave. I want to say that right now publicly.
Thank you.
We haven't sent out the invites, so we're I'm a little early in announcing that, but I know
I feel
that
so special. Thank you.
Well,
it's the first one in the door.
It only seats 110 or so at the tables. We're in a banquet hall, and it's going to be a lovely dinner with pros and non-pros mixing together. It's a real, again, connection and making connections. Not only pros to pros, but also to people that want to get into the industry, students and stuff like that.
Or fans. There's going to be fans too.
It's really important to us. So we want that dinner to be a real connection-based event. And so it'll be about an hour and a half long dinner. We're going to have a very special guest do a performance for us, actually. That'll be announced later. And then it's kind of a preview night. Now, San Diego Comic-Con does that kind of thing. They do like a Thursday night preview night. For us, it'll be Friday night preview night, because the real show is Saturday and Sunday all day long. But that VIP only preview night will mean as we come out of dinner, we can tour around and see all the other exhibitors upstairs in the event center that we have on Lipscomb campus. And the whole thing is right there on the Lipscomb campus. We have food and a food court on the Lipscomb campus too. So we're hoping that people just settle in for the weekend, and besides going back and forth to maybe a hotel to, sleep, they're going to be spending most of their time on that campus, and we'll make it real easy for them.
So the dinner Friday night is on campus.
And I'll finish that, which is after the dinner, there will be some preview time to go into the exhibitor room, which I think is 7 to 9. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's 7 to 9.
Okay.
And by the way, we said it earlier, but I want to say it again. This is a VIP night, so this is a special ticket. Only those people that had paid that VIP ticket get to have the whole Friday night entertainment and dinner and preview night of the expo. Then Saturday, everybody's invited that have gotten the normal tickets. So we have a Saturday and a Sunday ticket, and we have a combo ticket of Saturday and Sunday.
I was going to say, you have like one ticket that encompasses everything?
Yeah,
well, that would be the VIP.
Which we're sold out of, but that VIP ticket not only unlocks the Friday event and the dinner, but also was for Saturday and Sunday.
And that's the Saturday night screening and presentation and all that. Okay,
I mean, So all that. But and then Aaron's thing is a separate ticket price too for regular folks, and then Saturday and Sunday is Saturday is 10 a.m. we open the doors, and it's exhibitors and panels. So let me talk about that a little bit. All weekend, we're going to have panels, just like some of the better conventions and things. And we're talking about a lot of different topics. Like we have one on, because it's Tennessee and it's our first inaugural one, we wanted to do one of Tennessee animation. So things that are studios that are local to Tennessee are going to have a panel and talk. We're going to have some life drawings with Diana Coco Russell, who you might know from
Oh
the
my
Disney
gosh,
days.
I remember her. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Does she
Diana
live
Coco.
in Does she live
She
in
does.
Tennessee, in Nashville?
She does.
Wow.
She
And she's
teaches
been
with us.
teaching at
Yeah.
Lipscomb for years now. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Yeah,
we have all of our VIP guests like Mark Hen and Aaron are going to do talks. We're going to have talks on one called Storyboarding 101, and it'll be like Jeff Snow and Tim Hodge and John Pomeroy are going to be talking
And somebody
about
else
storyboards.
Matt O'Callahan.
Oh, is
Matt
Matt
Callan?
coming? Fantastic.
He's out. Yeah, he's coming to the event. So
Awesome.
we're super excited
Awesome.
about
It'd be
that.
He's going to
great to
moderate that one. Yeah.
Oh, good. It'd be great to see him.
Yeah, what are some
It's
of the
going to
other
be
ones?
It's going to be Old Home Week. It's going to be
Honestly,
like a little
for
bit of
you-
a reunion. I mean, all these people you're mentioning, I'm like, oh, I know all these people.
You're
There's
gonna-
a
you're gonna know
ton
a lot
of
people.
Yeah, former Disney people that are coming, and that's the one thing I kind of pitched in one of the comments on one of our posts is this is going to be heavy on the Disney side and very, very, very light on the anime side. So if you're looking for an anime convention, this is probably not your thing. But if you love Disney and Disney animation, especially a little bit of a higher side of it being 2D animation, this is going to be your event. Obviously, we still are going to have CG, just like our program at
Sure.
Lipscomb. We teach both. So we will have a nice panel. What's the panel, Tony, that's going to be a little more about some of the newer technologies?
Yeah, that's well, actually, Wingfeather Saga. That's a show that's produced out here too. They're going to have Keith Lango, who you may know from the animation
that's gonna be a
industry.
good one.
He's the CG director for them. He's going to talk about how they use Unreal Engine, which is the hot
Yeah,
new thing,
yeah,
way of
yeah.
rendering things, and they make animation real time with Unreal Engine, and they're going to be taking you through their pipeline. That's one, and then we have some teachers from ETSU that are coming. Greg Marlowe and Corey Reese. They're going to talk about how to-
ETSU is Eastern Tennessee State University.
correct.
I just took a
And-
stab at that one.
You did, and you got it right. But yeah, they have a great animation program and a lot of gaming. So they're going to talk about the gaming pipeline and things like that. So we have things that are techie, and then we have like a panel on making it an animation. Like how do you survive the ups and downs and trials of animation?
And by the way, and I don't know, is that Steven Silver's? We have Steven Silver coming, and he's going to do a nice panel too.
He's coming. Yeah, Steven Silver, who created Kim Possible back in the day, is going to be doing, I think he's on two panels. One's on portfolios because, he's been a talent recruiter at Disney. So he's going to talk on that one. And then he has one on, kind of the mental side, the artist mind, the secret to success. He's going to take you through how you should think about being an artist and also how to deal with, rejection and things like that. These are all great
I got to
topics.
keep going because there's a couple more. I'm really proud of all these panels, by the way, Tony. I want everybody to hear about them. John Pomeroy is going to do is it 30th anniversary of
30th
Pocahontas
anniversary
panel?
Yep.
Awesome.
And I hope I get to be on that because I did Pocahontas in that. But he created John Smith, and
We might be able to get you in, Tom. Did you work on
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas, Dave?
I did.
Oh, of course I did. Yeah, I
Oh,
worked on
Dave.
it. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to
in
get
fact,
you there.
I was actually on Pocahontas early on, doing effects designs and development at the beginning of the project, and I think halfway, I don't know, I think I was on it for that whole beginning section, and started doing effects animation, before I then got pinched to go on to Fantasia 2000 as the visual effects supervisor and
Nice.
artistic.
So you probably
coordinator.
did.
So.
I wonder. Thinking back, I think Colors of the Wind was one of the first things in production, right?
Yeah, I worked on that. Yes, absolutely. With
That's a nice one to have in your pocket.
yeah,
nice
with
job.
with Glenn and John. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
good stuff.
So
Yeah.
you and I both will have to kind of debate if we want to step in on that or just be in the audience and add. But we'll figure it out. But that's
Yeah, you
one
guys
that
should be in the
John's-
audience, and you should just like,
We
hey,
should
wait,
heckle
that's
them.
not right. Yeah,
We'll heckle them.
yeah, heckle John
That sounds
Palmer.
fun. Yeah. I just don't know if he wants to do it by himself or not. So I don't want to step on him.
Hey, this is
But-
for you guys, and Tom, you don't even know this,
Yeah.
but Dave and your listeners, I've been told by John Pomeroy he's planning something special at that 30th anniversary of Pocahontas talk.
Oh, good.
He's gonna, I think, if it pans out, he's gonna have a very special
surprise
presentation.
guest?
Surprise. Well, I don't want to say.
Okay.
I want
okay.
to say.
Yeah, no,
could be-
no. You know,
Oh.
you got to keep your cards close on certain things
yes,
because
yes.
you want people to be buzzing about it the weekend of, posting on social media. You know,
Guess what happened at this Pomeroy? Yeah, John Pomeroy 30th
Well,
anniversary.
and I do want to add that, Tony, because you're saying buzz around. My big concern is that if you've been to Lightbox, you've been to any of the bigger events. Let's put it that way. Hopefully, one of the pluses of us being at least year one, kind of a boutique program, is that we're not going to have as much overlap, right, Tony? So, like, hopefully, you can attend. We have panels all day, both days. One after another, every hour. But not as many overlap. There are a few, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a few.
And
Yeah, we have two different
hopefully
locations.
you'll be
but
able to
it's not
see
like
most all of them.
it's not like there's 5 panels going every single hour, and you're
Exactly.
just like, one, I can't get into any of those 5, and 2, how do I pick? Because they're all great topics and
Right,
stuff. So
right.
we're
Yeah.
trying to keep it very simple. We have one main auditorium where the main panels are going to be, and then there's a secondary room that some panels will be in, and they'll overlap. So you could actually hop around a little bit if you wanted to and get kind of the breadth of it all.
Certainly going to be a lot easier to get in. So, the last one I want to mention too is voice actors. We have on Sunday, we're going to have a really great voice acting. And by the way, we're trying to make this expo a lot more edutainment than some of the other, like Comic Cons and things like that, where it's real fan based and it's geeky kind of questions and stuff. We want to make this for the pros and for the beginners to intermediates that are moving on up in animation and just love it and related, but mostly animation. And so our voice acting, it won't be just like, everybody doing funny voices and like, we want them to talk about the actual acting and performance side. It's something that those are kind of questions don't always come up at those panels. It's more about the history of Pokemon characters and, they get a little geeky. And so we've really made this one about, the acting and performance side of voice acting. And so it's going to have Jason Marsden, who's an old school Disney voice actor who did Max Goof.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, Lion King too. He's the Scar's son. Somebody out there would know what his name is. Not me.
It's Scratch. He's Scratch, not Scar. He's Scratch.
No, that's not it.
If it gets infected, it turns into a scar.
No, I'm sorry, Jason, if I don't remember. Just it's Jason Marsden. Susan Egan is going to be there, and she's a Nashville local, but she is the voice of Megara in Hercules, and has done some Studio Ghibli voice acting and just a bunch of stuff. But she was the original Belle on Broadway. Just amazing.
We have James Arnold Taylor, Tom.
Yeah.
James Arnold he was Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars and stuff. He's a local too. And of course, our beloved friend who also teaches at Lipscomb is Mike Naraki. He's Larry the Cucumber from the VeggieTales. A lot of people know the VeggieTales. They grew up with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a good panel.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And I also think that, again, it sounds like you said, it's going to be boutique-ish. It's going to be intimate. There's going to be a lot of professionals on the floor, as well as doing the panels. And I think that's going to be a real boon for students and people who are just starting out and looking to get into the business, or even interested in maybe going to an animation program. I mean, that's what a lot of these expos are great for, is, you get kids that are, maybe in an art program, but they're looking to, go into animation.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's why we wanted to, even though it's on the Lipscomb campus and that's where Tom and I teach, it's not Lipscomb centric. We wanted to have other colleges and universities involved because
Yeah.
it's more about Tennessee, the spectrum. That's why ETSU and MTSU, which is Middle Tennessee State
Oh, I was going to
University.
have Dave guess that
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say
Oh!
Middle Tennessee
Were
State
you?
University.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
answer
is
was
there a
people out.
WTSU?
Like Western, yeah. I don't think
That's
there is.
Wild Tennessee State University.
So
Yeah, that's the party school.
I'm curious.
That's in Knoxville.
How was the university? Were they receptive to this whole thing? Were they weren't uptight
Yeah.
about having other colleges and universities coming
I did.
in?
I did have to get permission. I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that they knew up front that our
Right.
intention was not to be like so Lipscomb centric. And
Yeah.
so I did put it out there to the president, and she was very open to the idea. She loved that we were hosting it. And so we've gotten discounts on, event areas and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They've been very open about, how to solve parking problems and food issues and things like
Yeah.
that, and very helpful along the way. So yeah, they've been great.
It's really the perfect way to start an expo is through this relationship we already had
Yeah.
with Lipscomb, and it's a beautiful campus too.
Yeah.
And so our little event, it's just the perfect way to start it. We may grow from here and go out into bigger convention centers and things like that, but I think the people that are coming this year are going to really experience a lot more of a homey kind of a feel
Yeah.
to an expo than what it could become down the road, for good and bad. But honestly, this is going to be a fun, homey, making lots of friends kind of an expo.
Yeah, and that's exactly how Aljon and I have been talking about it. We're really looking forward to it, not only from the standpoint that he and I haven't been in the same place together really for any amount of time, but also because of the animation community that's in and around the Nashville area, as well as just the idea of the animation community in that part of the country coming together to one location. And you said you might grow out of Lipscomb, and I was going to ask you that question. Do you envision this becoming like the way CTN was at its peak years, where they Tina put in 150-foot by 100-foot tent, and or do you see yourselves going into a convention center where there's hundreds of artists and vendors and things like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Going back to what Tom was saying about being a boutique atmosphere, we do want to keep it small, but yeah, we do see growth also in our future. Like I said, I don't know that we'll be able to be on the Lipscomb campus more than just this year. I'll be honest, because they've kind of given us 500 people as like the max. I think we're going to meet that this year. The very first year, I think we're going to sell out. Well, we have to move. We kind of have to move somewhere else, unless we're going to always be turning people away. And as people start to know about it and it grows in interest, we're going to have people really wanting to go. So I don't know what that sweet spot is quite yet. I know we don't want to get to 10,000 or something like that. I feel like that's so crazy, but could we get up to 5,000 or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a need for it here in the South.
Yeah.
There seems to be a real draw for it.
You keep saying the South. Is Nashville really considered the South? I thought you were north of the Mason-Dixon line.
We're considered the South. That's all I know. I don't want to get into maps and all that, but yes, this is the South.
People would fight you about that. Dave, don't come down here and say, "Oh, this ain't the South."
If you want to dig into Civil War history, there's a little political edge there where you can go, well, they were kind of neutral and all.
Well,
blah.
Tom,
But
you
location-wise,
really mean the war between the states, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, you know your stuff, Dave. Yeah.
Well, that's from the old Jay Ward cartoons.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, they say
funny.
that still.
Yeah, do they? The war between the states. Okay,
Yeah.
But you know what? Nashville just sounds like a great town, though. I mean, Aljon is always raving about it because the music scene is there.
Yes.
And
the food scene is booming now,
and the
too.
food scene is booming.
Oh my gosh,
and
yeah.
there's just a lot
Nashville's
going
really
on.
become a foodie state. And by the way, I've got to mention that. Tony briefly mentioned the food court, but you will be trapped on the Lipscomb campus. But let me tell you something. You're going to have some barbecue because we got one of those in the food court. We got Starbucks and we got Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
So
And now are they
all you
all,
need.
they're all going to be open during the convention?
They better be.
I don't know that Chick-fil-A will be open on Sundays.
Well, Chick-fil-A won't be open on
no,
Sunday.
they
we
won't.
already
Yeah, they
know
won't.
that.
Yeah,
But they will be open Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
that's
already checked into it.
That was kind of a nervous, like
No,
we
no,
better
'cause
go,
we had to- I mean,
we better go
literally-
find out.
No, we literally, I just got an email from the guy that runs the food courts and concessions there on the campus. And I had to give him a heads up because I'm like, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we're going to have, besides the students that weekend that are always there on the campus eating from those restaurants and food court areas, I said, we're going to have like 500-600 people coming in for this expo. You guys got to be ready. And they're like, oh, we had no idea. Oh, okay. We got to order some more food.
Well,
and honestly, that's for during the day. I'm hoping that people have a car and they're going to, or Uber, of course, but they're going to have the ability to go out at night and go have some really nice dinners because all around us, there's a Martin's Barbecue, one of the best barbecues here in the South, but Nashville especially. There's 12 South is a street that basically you could walk to. I wouldn't walk it, but you could because it's maybe a couple miles from Lipscomb, but walkable. And you could get down there, and man, there's like taco bars. There's all kinds of really high end. It's where Reese Witherspoon has one of her little clothing stores too.
Nice,
it's a really nice little area.
Nice shopping and food. It's a real popular place.
And you do have a lot of people taking advantage of the partner hotels, I take it, because the Hilton and what was the other one, the Hampton Inn?
Hampton Inn, The Hampton Inn is so we got deals with both of those. They're giving us somewhat of a discount. I think the Hilton is more on parking, and the Hampton Inn is lowering their price per room rate. Yeah, so that's been good. And then besides those two, there's a bunch of other ones there. That's in the Green Hills area. Yeah, which again, like Tom was saying, you can almost walk there. It's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. But I don't recommend.
You wouldn't want to, and it's going to be very cold.
Right.
It could be cold. Yeah, so it could be cold that weekend. So get an Uber.
But it's a quick Uber or Lyft ride away. Yeah,
it is
sure.
Very quick.
Yeah. Now,
and there's the Green Hills Mall, by the way, too. Just want to throw that in. So there's a lot around us.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to coming in, guys, and being a part of this inaugural Animation Y'all Expo. And I think it's going to be a great event, especially with what you just outlined with all of the programming and everything. So one last parting words from each of you about the expo.
Well, I just want people to go check out our website, animationyall.com, animationyall.com. It doesn't have any hyphens in there or anything. Right. It's just Animation Y'all, YALL for y'all.com. But there you'll find everything, including where one stop for getting to the tickets. There's a get your tickets area. And like I said, Friday's sold out, but we'd love to have everybody come in on Saturday and Sunday. You can get individual tickets or you can buy the combo ticket and come both days.
Fantastic.
I have to share one more panel just because I think it's worth mentioning. On Sunday, we're going to have a panel about The Light of the World, which is the film that I'm directing and Tony's the animation director of, and that we've been working on for the last 2.5 years. We are going to premiere 10 minutes of the film at this expo, at that panel. The other director, John Schaefer, will be there, and our producer, Pam Darley. So it's going to be the four of us kind of talking about it, showing 10 minutes of the film. It's never been shown anywhere else. It is a faith-based. It's about the life of Jesus.
Okay.
But it's 2D.
Is it a feature?
I think people are.
It's a feature, and it's 2D animation, Dave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And Pam Darley. I know Pam Darley.
You know Pam?
I know.
Now, does she live in the area?
No, she's in Florida.
Okay, so she's still down in Florida.
She works with me at Pencilish Studios, and we both got brought on to work on The Light of the World, and so I see her every day.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah, actually Friday is my last day as we speak right here and now. This Friday is we're here on Tuesday. This Friday is my last day on the film. I've been on it for 2 years, so it's very
exciting already.
So are you finishing off your last bits of animation?
Yeah. It's supposed to be done by Friday. We'll see.
Wow.
It's down to the wire.
It won't be. We know there's going to be some spillover for a couple weeks, but I'll take
You're
it.
getting
over from
fair
there.
warning from Tom.
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been awesome, and so we're excited to be sharing that exclusive that the executive producers have let us do for Light of the World and at Animation
I'm excited
Expo.
to see it. Guys, it's so great having you, Tony Bancroft and Tom Bancroft, the Bancroft brothers, on the Skull Rock podcast. And the next time we talk with you is going to be in like 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, 3 weeks, I guess, when this airs. It'll be in 3 weeks. We'll see you in Nashville in person. And we're going to get some quick little sound bites and interviews at the Skull Rock podcast booth at the Animation Y'all Expo, February 21st to the 23rd in wonderful Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you for being on the Skull Rock podcast.
Thank you so much, Dave. We're happy
Oh,
to
and lastly, go to animationyall.com to get your tickets and to see all the panels and things.
And Aljon's going to put a link into our show notes for that too, okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Take care, guys.
Appreciate it,
All
Dave.
right. See you, buddy.
Hello, everyone. I'm animator Mark Kozler. You're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Skull Rock Podcast is thrilled to announce that we are now on Patreon. Dive deeper into the world of animation, films, and behind-the-scenes stories with your hosts Aljon Go and Dave Bossert. Not only will you be helping to keep the magic alive, but will be part of our special community. We want to thank our Skull Rock crew members, Steve Minch and Chris Banas, for their support. If you would like to join our Skull Rock crew, please visit our Patreon link in our show notes or visit patreon.com/Skull Rock Podcast. Thank you for listening and for your continued support of everything we do.
Skull Rock Podcast.
To infinity and beyond.
Exploring the outer reaches of the Disney galaxy.
Oh, wow, you flew magnificently.
Oh, like a two-headed Hydra, Dave. The Bancroft brothers on the show. I mean, how can you keep a straight face with those two guys?
You know, they're really, I mean, some incredible talents, both of them, and just such nice guys. It was great being able to interview them and find out the genesis, the journey that they've been on with, the program at Lipscomb University, the animation program, and getting this expo off the ground. And all I can say is I am super proud that the Old Mill Press, that's published quite a number of my books, and the Skull Rock podcast are going to have a presence at their inaugural expo. And as everybody's heard, tons of really great animation talent, legendary people, you know, Mark Henn and Aaron Blaze and Matt O'Callahan. There's going to be some great animation talent there in Nashville. And so anybody in the region who's interested in getting into animation or is just a fan of animation, you don't want to miss this expo.
Yes, so check this out. More details can be found at animationyall.com. And I'll have our link in the show notes. You can, tickets are still available for it. Friday is VIP show night. There's a VIP dinner and sponsors tables, of course. So you've got to be a VIP ticket holder in order to get there on preview night. And then Saturday, 22nd, the regular show's open to the public. There is, an hour VIP only, opening. Of course, there's all kinds of exhibitors, professional panels. As Dave said, Old Mill Press will be there. And then later that night, Snow Bear, which is Aaron Blaze's animated short, will be there for a special screening. And that is a separate ticket price for that as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that and seeing Aaron's work.
And Aljon, you and I are going to be there in the Skull Rock podcast booth.
I'm excited.
And we're going to be talking to listeners. We're going to be talking to animation talent. We're going to have sort of almost a live show that we're going to broadcast afterwards of the expo.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. And then Sunday, of course, the same. You've got a bunch of programming. So we're going to have that link in the show notes. We're going to be talking more about it. If you join our Patreon, I'm sure I'll be posting some stuff about it as well. Once again, Lipscomb University, Nashville is where it's at. Animation Y'all Expo, the very first one. Join us for the inaugural Expo, February 21st through 23rd there at Lipscomb. It's going to be an amazing event. And you get to see Dave. You get to see me. You'll get to see the Bancroft brothers and Aaron Blaze and everybody else. It's going to be awesome. Once again, if you love Disney and pop culture, please don't forget to subscribe to the show everywhere you find podcasts, including our brand new YouTube page. Please check that out. All you have to do is search for Skull Rock Podcast. Be sure to like, give us a follow, share this content right there on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Instagram. We're there. The website is being put back up really soon, so you can check out skullrockpodcast.com. Hopefully by the time you listen to this, we'll get that all squared away. And you can also email us, Dave or Aljon, ALJON, at skullrockpodcast.com, respectively. We'd love to hear from you. It's always great hearing feedback from our wonderful listeners. You can also check out us on Sorcerer Radio at srsounds.com, as well as my other podcast, Dining at Disney. You can find us at Dining at Disney Podcast everywhere you find podcasts. And follow me on Instagram if you would. We'd appreciate it. Aljon Go, ALJONGO on Instagram. Dave?
Well, look, I'm just going to carp on it. February 21st to the 23rd, we're going to be at the Animation Y'all Expo. Bob Weiss, former president of Walt Disney Imagineering. Right now, he's scheduled to be there, but I will tell our listeners he was affected by the fires out here in Los Angeles, so we're on the fence right now. We're still trying to figure out that, but right now he is scheduled to be there. On my show, The Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM Disney Hits, the February song we're featuring is Feed the Birds from Disney's 1964 classic Mary Poppins. That drops on Tuesday. This Tuesday, the 4th, I guess it is, February 4th. That drops on Sirius XM Disney Hits, channel 133. You can get a lot of my books, signed copies at theoldmillpress.com, including my latest book, Find Your Happy Place, the 8-Step Guide to Boosting Your Creativity Through a Personal Retreat, winner of a gold medal at the Fire Book Awards. And by the way, I will be signing copies at the Animation Y'all Expo. And, of course, you can always go to davidbossert.com. There's tons of free content and other stuff. I'm still working on updating that website. There's just so much going on, Aljon. It's absolutely insane. And with that, I'm going to tell everybody, please go out and have a fantastic week. Be kind to one another out there, and we'll see you back here next Monday right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.
Well, once again, gang, it's time now to have an awesome travel deal. Kristen, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about everybody's favorite Disney travel deal, and that is the free Disney dining plan.
Woo-hoo.
If you purchase a non-discounted minimum 3-night, 3-day Disney Travel Company package, which will include your room at select hotels and theme park tickets, which will include the park hopper option. It's going to be for arrivals most nights from May 27th to June 26th and July 7th to August 6th. So you have pretty much 2 months of time to take advantage of this. Of course, if you're staying at a deluxe villa or deluxe resort, you will get the Disney dining plan. If you are staying at a moderate or a value, you will get the Disney quick service dining plan. However, you can pay the difference and upgrade that to the Disney dining plan. So, yes.
Awesome. Well, everybody loves free dining. So I don't know a single person who doesn't, especially when you're booking that trip. And to get that free quote and take advantage of this deal as well as many others, including Adventures by Disney with new itineraries, brand new Disney Cruise Line, and so many other cruise lines, of course, Adventures by Disney, and the theme parks like Universal as well here stateside. Where can people email you to get this deal and a free quote?
They can contact me at themeparksandcruises@gmail.com.